Thank you guys so much for tuning in to today's live stream. Today is March 19th, 2025. I'm sorry for the late arrival, but I am here nevertheless. So coming into today, coming into the morning actually, I wanted to see prices take out the Friday's high, not Friday's high, but I'm sorry, the 4-hour high and this 8-hour high here, denoted by this green line. So I was pretty bullish coming into this morning. I wanted to see us take out this high, and we are also retracing back into the premium of this dealing range here. Alright, so give me 1 second, I'll explain to you guys what I mean by that. So so to begin today's live stream, right, I wanted to see us retrace back into this dealing range here. What I mean by that is, so from this 4-hour swing low right here, so this is a swing low, this is a swing high, and from the swing high and the swing low, there is a dealing range, right? It creates a little range right here, and within a dealing range there is the equilibrium price level, which is essentially the midpoint of the swing high and the swing low, and the equilibrium level separates discount and premium, right? And in the markets, I mean, regular markets, stock markets, anything like that, there's a discount and premium factor, right? So let's say you're a buyer. Think of it as you're going to a random store and you're wanting to buy, let's say, you wanted to buy chicken. And let's say the chicken is on 0.5% off, or on discount, 0.5% off, 50% off, and you're like, okay, you're more inclined to buy because it's in discount, right? Same thing here with the stock market as well. Because the stock market is a market, right? There's, like I said, there's factors that there's like times where it trades back into discount, times where it trades back into premium. So in this specific example here, you can see how prices are trading into discount, or not discount but premium, denoted by the red shaded box. Right, so now that we're in premium, I don't really have a higher time frame objective. And notice how this 4-hour high here on ES and this 8-hour high, both of those candles are suggesting higher prices. Right? It suggests the idea that we're most likely going to take out the 4-hour high and the 8-hour high. Why else should we continue higher? However, we should continue higher to retrace back into the premium, right? If there's sellers here in this market, they're going to want to sell in the red shaded box, right? And notice how we haven't yet retraced back into premium as well. So there's still a little bit of movement here between the 4-hour swing high and the premium level of the 4-hour dealing range. So to me, I wanted to see us continue higher here, take out the 4-hour high, and continue higher into the premium of the dealing range. So coming into today, I did want to go over some of the news that we have. So at 12 p.m. today, Eastern time, we do have FOMC meetings today at 12:30 Eastern time, and in the FOMC statement and economic projections here at 12 p.m. So right now, I mean, pretty standard. I mean, for FOMC, we don't want to really trade the morning session, right? Majority of the volatility that's going to be injected into the markets is going to be present during the PM session. But during markets like these, right, where we've been moving a lot of points, like yesterday here on NQ, we moved 450 points, right? That's not normal. If you were to compare the movement that we had back in like 3 years ago, it wouldn't be as volatile as it is today, right? Yesterday we moved 450 points. The day prior to that, we moved 400 points, and then we moved 445 points on, I believe this was on Friday, yeah. So just the gist of it is that we're moving a lot of points, and we're just extremely volatile. So it's, I guess it's understandable that we are, that like this, the way that we're moving right now makes sense. But yeah, same thing here on AQ as well. I wanted to see us take out the 8-hour high slash the 4-hour high. We ended up completing those two objectives, right? Took out the 8-hour high, 4-hour high, and then 1-hour high. All those highs being the same. What does that mean? What does it mean that the 1-hour high is the same high as the 4-hour and the 8-hour? You can interpret that by this right here. So if the hourly high is the same high as the 8-hour high, essentially what that means is we should complete the 8-hour objective within the next 1 hour, right? That's the idea called scope. Scope allows us to understand when prices should complete an objective. And not only is this 1-hour high the same high as the 8-hour high, but I believe if you zoom in a little bit more, you'll notice that the 15-minute high was the same high as the 30-minute high, the hourly high, 4-hour high slash 8-hour high. So what does that mean? We should complete the 8-hour objective within the next 15 minutes, right? Idea called scope. And right now we are trading above the weekly open here on NQ. So we'll see if we continue to sell off, because my daily objective is I want to see us take out previous day low, right? This daily candle here on NQ suggests that we're most likely going to take out previous day low. I mean, it's easy to, you can, you know, it's easy and it's an easy assumption. It suggests lower prices, right? This down close candle is suggesting lower prices, and yeah. So coming today, I do want to see lower prices. However, one thing that I'm kind of wary of is I want to see an intraday time frame, like the 4-hour, the 6-hour, the 10-hour, the 12-hour, to align with higher or with lower prices, right? All of these candles here on the 4-hour time frame hasn't suggested lower prices. So I'm not gonna force anything. I'm just gonna wait. Maybe during FOMC we get that push down that we want to see, but as of right now, I'm not really urgent on lower prices. However, I am favoring lower prices coming into today as a whole, right? But that doesn't mean that I can't trade intraday time frames. Like, even though the daily candle here is suggesting lower prices, right? It's bearish. What did we assume here on the 4-hour time frame, right? Based on this 4-hour candle, I could anticipate that we're most likely going to take out the 4-hour high. Makes sense. It's a bullish candle suggesting higher prices. I want to see us take out the 4-hour high. What did we do? We ended up taking out the 4-hour high and retracing back into the premium of this 4-hour dealing range. And yeah, that's pretty much all I wanted to go over here for today on the live stream. I know I missed the set schedule that I have, but coming home yesterday at 2 wasn't the smartest idea. Got up a little bit later than usual, but that is completely fine as I am up right now. That's all that matters. And to finish things off, I do want to go over the pros and cons here with you guys. Oh yeah, so there was a trade that I was looking at yesterday, right? Well, not yesterday, but I guess coming into today. So you guys know how that daily candle is suggesting lower prices, right? So I could actually, like, if I were to base my trades simply based off of a model and an entry pattern, this would have been a A+ setup, right? Daily model suggesting lower prices, right? And my entry pattern would have been this 4-hour fair value gap that suggests lower prices. So here actually I should have and would have taken a trade if I were using only 2 objectives, but I need 3, right? My last one would have been a higher time frame objective. What is my I guess macro reason why prices should continue lower here? And there's none, right? We have already retraced back into the discount of this daily range here. There's not a higher time frame relative to the daily that suggests higher prices, or not higher prices, but suggests lower prices, a continuation of lower prices. So that's just the idea that I had coming into today. However, like I said, we didn't have the higher time frame objective. That is in alignment with lower prices here on the dollar, and that would have demanded a respect of this 4-hour fair value gap. So I just didn't take it. But yeah, backtracking here. Some of the pros and cons here coming into this week. Taking consistent models, right? Every single trade that I take, I should have a higher time frame objective, I should have a model, and I should have a entry pattern. So discipline is what allowed me to not take this trade, right? So in this trade that I just went over with you guys, where the daily time frame would have been my model, 4-hour fair value gap would have been my entry pattern, what would have been my higher time frame objective? Nothing, to be honest. We weren't retracing back into discount. We weren't rebalancing an inefficiency on the higher time frames. We weren't taking out higher time frame liquidity relative to the daily time frame. So coming into this week, it's best for me to practice discipline, patience, right? As the week prior to this, I didn't have much time to be in front of the charts. I didn't spend too much, right? Didn't spend too much time in front of the charts. So I could view this week as kind of like a get everything together week, slowly get used to the daily routines, right? Second, being extra patient. That was a virtue that I was able to practice coming into today. Like I said, I would have forced this trade here if I wasn't patient. But because I was patient coming into this week, I didn't want to force any trades. I know that as long as I stick to my strategy, everything is going to play out. And yeah, not forcing anything, right? One of my components were missing for my strategy, and I didn't take a trade. Very, very, I would pat myself on the back there. Third, allowing this week to be a rebound week. So like I said before, last week, I didn't spend much time in front of the charts. I was mainly away from my house. Spent most of my time on vacation, going to Colorado, visiting A&M, and just kind of just exploring the area around me. So coming into this week, using this time to really go back to my daily habits, sticking to my daily routines is something that I should focus on spending more of my energy on kind of recuperating and kind of getting my senses and my focus back on track than spending energy on forcing anything to happen, like forcing any trades to happen, right? What can I work on this week? Not forcing trades to happen. And in general, you can't really force anything to happen. All you can do is submit to the process and do everything that's in your control, right? That's something I could work on. Coming into this week, every single day, I should be able to identify something new that I have learned, and actually journal it. So if I were to go over yesterday's, lesson, some of the things that I learned yesterday was diluted number of shares outstanding represents the entire shares and potential shares in a company, right? So there are things like stock options where people have the chance or the opportunity to turn, I'm not entirely too sure how stock options work, but they have the ability to turn whatever they have into a share in the company that they work for, or I'm not entirely too sure about that, but just know that diluted number of shares is the number of actual shares or potential shares in a company, and just the basic number of shares, or the present number of shares in a market or in a company. And in accrual accounting, expenses and revenues are matched in the same period, right? And I believe it is when the revenue is actually recognized, that's when you would, input your expense. And this way of accounting actually allows for better analysis of a company's income statement, right? Balance sheets and cash flow statements. It just allows for better analysis. But it's also a factor of subjectivity. So because you want to align your expenses with your revenues, it kind of allows this play for subjectivity within a company. And there are times, or there's been a time, where a company kind of uses this subjectivity to give a false narrative for potential investors. And I have to learn a little bit more, but that's something that I did learn from yesterday, right? Some of the improvements here coming to next week: taking consistent trades. If someone were to ask me, hey, why did you take this trade here? I should be able to, really break it down, explain to them what the higher time frame objective was, what the model was, and what my entry pattern was in every single one of my trades. So be consistent. Second, being patient, allowing myself to just sit on the sidelines, not to force anything, right? I can't force the markets to behave in a way that's beneficial towards me. I can't think like that. I have to be nimble. I have to be present. I have to take opportunities whenever they are present, but I can't force anything. Third, learn something new, journal it. Knowledge is something that cannot be taken away from you. I believe that a successful entrepreneur, anybody that's good at the craft, would be able to be like, if they were tossed into a desert, they would be able to rebuild themselves and rebuild that lifestyle that they had for themselves with the knowledge that they have accumulated. And with that, I do believe that's gonna just wrap it up for today's live stream. I know today I was a little bit late. Hopefully I can be on time for tomorrow as well. But I apologize, and Thank you guys so much for watching, and until next time, be safe.